Hi, my name is Tommy Robinson, and thanks to Donald Trump, the world is looking at Sweden. A couple of days ago, Donald Trump made some comments which have shone a torch on Sweden, which have made the left and the mainstream media very unhappy. There's the usual fake news hysteria. That's what we're seeing from the left-wing media. If you look at, I'm going to show you a title or a headline of a newspaper article now. You'll be able to see this yourself. Now, you would think that Donald Trump had mentioned terrorism. When you read that headline, that's the narrative that many of the mainstream media took from what his speech said. You'd think that he'd mentioned terrorism. Now have a watch of what Donald Trump actually said in his speech.
You look at what's happening last night in Sweden. Sweden. Who would believe this? Sweden. They took in large numbers. They're having problems like they never thought possible.
He didn't mention terrorism, did he? No mention of terrorism. Now, it took me 5 minutes. After hearing Donald Trump talk about Sweden, it took me 5 minutes to find out exactly what he was speaking about. He was speaking about a documentary that went out the night before on Fox News. And it highlighted it was about Sweden. So when he says clearly in his speech, we all saw last night in Sweden, he's referring to the documentary that he watched, that many people in America would have watched. That took me 5 minutes as a simple person. Every journalist, before they wrote their headlines, before they took that narrative and that story, they would have come to the same conclusion as I did. But they've still run with the narrative to try and belittle and try and mug Donald Trump off and make it look like he's stupid and ridiculous. You've got the Foreign Office or the different Swedish officials coming out saying, we don't know what he's on about. I know what he's on about. I'm going to go through all the problems which we'll see that are happening in Sweden. By shining a torch on Sweden, and in fact, in any country in Europe, you'll see that the overly welcoming accommodation and the generous Western societies act as a magnet for refugees. They act as a magnet for economic migrants and unfortunately also jihadists which mingle in amongst them all. We can already see in Europe, if you look at any country in Europe, you can already see that integration and mass immigration has not resulted, that it's not worked. It's not worked at all, least of all when you try to import en masse an alien culture which is diametrically opposed to Western civilization. Unfortunately, what you've seen in any of the countries, I've had it for 8 years, you'll all know, many people have heard the names I've been called, but when you try and speak out against the facts which I'll come to in this video, the facts which correlate a link between the influx of Muslim migrants and the link to the explosion in crime or terrorism, you'll be referred to as a racist, as a bigot, as an Islamophobe, or as an extremist. These slanderous comments, which are aimed at all of us, are aimed at us to stifle legitimate concerns, to stifle any legitimate debate that there can be. Especially at a time when, right now, we have to highlight the intolerable theocracy that's masquerading as a religion, which is currently being used as a weapon of war against the people of Europe. I ask myself, when I look to these left-wing countries, Sweden has pretty much had a left-wing government since 1917. I ask myself why they're so intent on destroying the social cohesion of their own communities that they're supposed to be governing. Their left's answer, rather than tackle these problems or talk about these problems, the left's answer is to close down the debate. The truth for them is very uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because they've imported it. They wish to create an atmosphere where anyone talking about policy failures of their policies are met with public disdain and cries of bigotry. They actually are, when more I research, that's why I thank you Donald Trump again, because by shining a torch, you get everybody from different countries at different times is then researching into what's happening in Sweden. One thing I was shocked to find was that they passed a law in 2014, which actually makes it legal to criticise the government's policies. Is this Russia or China? Is it supposedly Sweden? The left is their complete incompetence and their failures. They don't have the balls to tackle the intolerance that they've imported into our countries. That's the reality of it. We're expected to tolerate it. We're expected to welcome with open arms hatred and people who wish to do us harm. We're exposed to accept the unacceptable. If we have a brief look at Sweden's sex crime statistics, in 2016 there were 10,500 sexual attacks, sexual rapes. That's a 20% rise on the year before. But before the left decided to open the borders of Sweden and change it into a multicultural shithole, 472 people were raped in 1975. 472 people. Last year, 6,500 people were raped. That is a 1,472% increase on rape. Crime has gone up by 300%. In 2011, if we look at the statistics for 2011, 77% of the rapes in Sweden were by Muslim men. That is out of a population of just 2% Muslim men. Is it fair to say there's a correlation between importing Islam and rape culture? Yes, it clearly is. The facts and the statistics do not lie. And these are facts and statistics that we have to accept. We accept them. But we've already seen police attempting to cover up mass rapes and molestations at music concerts. If I give you the facts now, or if we look at 1 week in particular, we'll start on June the 8th. On June the 8th in Sweden, 3 Somali men raped a 14-year-old girl. They got 3 years in jail. They did not get deported. There's no deportation order. Yeah. So when we look at maybe that Sweden would be ready for this, or have laws in place to try and act as a deterrent. See if you think these sentences act as a deterrent. June the 9th, a Somalian attacks a Swedish police officer. He bites him and beats him. But he's let off, he's acquitted because of the trauma he faced and the negative view he already had of the police. This is what we're importing. June the 9th, on the same day, 3 Somalians rob and batter a Swedish man. They anally rape him and they make him give each one of them oral. This is what's happening. June the 11th, an Afghan rapes a 2.5-year-old child. Okay, he rapes a child. He gets 2.5 years in prison. That's it. June the 12th, riots in all the immigrant areas in Sweden. Cars on fire, the fire brigade being attacked. June the 13th, this is in 1 week, June the 13th, a Bosnian ISIS fighter claims asylum. The attempt to deport him is rejected because he's claiming asylum there. He's an ISIS fighter. Intelligence tells them that. June the 14th, a man from Yemen rapes a 14-year-old girl. He gets 18 months in prison. No joke. 18 months in prison. Is he getting deported? No, he's not. No, he's not. Now, so when you hear the press belittling this, putting Swedish incident, what Swedish incident? What Swedish incident? Take your pick. These incidents are happening every day. It's like an army is coming to Sweden and is raping the women. Sweden is now the 2nd highest rate per capita in the world. Sweden, after South Africa, it's Sweden. And they've got the insanity of the media and everyone trying to belittle and mug off like Sweden's some sort of multicultural love nest. You don't even have to take my words for it. Just take a minute to listen to the 2 police officers now. They're both police officers in Sweden, and this is actually from the Fox News piece which Donald Trump was referring to. Take a minute to watch it.
Would you go as far as to say that these no-go areas are essentially states within a state?
Yeah, most of the no-go areas is like that.
Are there areas where if you're pursuing somebody, where you'll simply stop and not pursue them once they get into this no-go area?
Yeah.
If the police is chasing another car for some kind of crime, if they reach what we call no-go areas, the police wouldn't go after it.
Do you see the violence really spreading across Sweden into the cities?
At least 1 or 2 times a week.
And let's say 5 years ago, how often would you say it was?
No.
3 times a year.
Really?
You heard it there. 50 no-go areas. 50 areas the police can't go into. An explosion in rape, an explosion in crime. This is the reality for what's happening in Sweden. And anyone like myself, I've researched it. I held a demonstration in Sweden years ago with Pamela Geller and Robert Spencer, trying to highlight these crimes and these problems because the mainstream media and the government are hiding them. Yeah, they're hiding them. That's the reality of it. Now, let's see if we can find another Swedish police officer who might have something sensible, like a way of dealing with this.
Som vi ser det just nu så rekommenderar vi framförallt kvinnor som rör sig ute sent på nätterna att helst inte göra det utan ordna skjuts eller att man är fler människor som går i grupp.
So this Swedish police officer, basically, his warning to women is, do not go out alone, change your life. Basically, Islam is here, okay? Islam is here. He's saying this because there's been 6 rapes now, 6 attempted rapes in this small area that previously had none before the influx of refugees, so-called refugees. These attacks, which he goes on to explain in the video, are committed by not drunk men, but groups of men, 3 or 4 men, Where have we heard that before? Yeah? Where have we heard that before? So there's another police officer who has been a police officer for 30 years who recently put all of his views on Facebook that went viral. He explained what he'd been dealing with for the last 10 years. You can look this up and Google it yourself. This police officer basically said that in the last week he named the crimes he dealt with. And it pretty much went rape, sexual molestation, violent attack, robbery, burglary, rape. That's basically how it went. Then he listed the names of the perpetrators and the suspects in his crimes. And it went Mohammed spelled every way you could think of spelling Mohammed, Ali, right, all these different Muslim names. And in the middle there was one Christopher. He says, yes, one Swedish man broke into the crime statistic for a burglary. Okay. Then he listed the countries of origin or where these men were born. And we all know they're not going to be deported because I've already previously gone through. They're not deporting these people after their crimes. Their countries of origin were Syria, Somalia, Afghanistan, Pakistan. You get the point. Yeah? This police officer, when making this post, made it very clear that he's aware his career will be over now for telling people. But he said he felt that Swedish people need to know what is happening in their country. Just as Europeans, we all need to know. Everyone around the world needs to understand what is currently happening and the current climate of things that are happening. So, was Trump right in highlighting the problem that Sweden faces? Clearly he is. Clearly he's correct. Cultural relativism, where we say that all cultures are the same. They're not. Some cultures are far more dangerous than others. We should also feel very comfortable in saying that Western culture is superior. It's better. It's a better way of life. Especially when we compare it to a backward, barbarian, medieval, molesting culture that is ingrained in Islam. I hope and pray that things are about to change. If you look at Trump, Brexit, hopefully Le Pen and Wilders in the coming months, we'll see a different Europe. And we're hopefully breaking through in the mainstream media, and now people now understand what the mainstream media are doing. They understand they're not telling the truth. They understand they're lying. They understand they have a narrative against the interests of the people.